Ngizwe Mchunu face more charges, while the National Prosecuting Authority says further investigations into the former radio DJ are being conducted. Mchunu is facing a charge of incitement to commit public violence. He is alleged to be one of the instigators of last week's unrest. He will remain in custody for at least another week. Joining me now for this discussion is the NPA spokesperson, Mthunzi Mhaga. Mthunzi, thank you for joining us. So clarify the matter for us. Ngizwe Mchunu and the other suspect arrested in Roodepoort, the Progressive Alliance, Patriotic Alliance member, regional leader there. The only charges they are facing at this point are charges of incitement to commit public violence. How does that happen in a situation where we've been told that there was an attempt at insurrection? We would have expected the charges to be far more serious than a Schedule 1 offense.
Good day, Thulas, and to your viewers. Unfortunately, Thulas, we are guided by the evidence at our disposal, which has been presented by law enforcement. And up to now, the evidence suggests that the commission of the offense of incitement to commit public violence is the only charge that we can refer. And the investigation hopefully may reveal otherwise. But for now, we're sticking with this charge of incitement to commit public violence. Relating specifically then to the accused, Ngizwe Mchunu, what is the likelihood that he will face more charges? We know that you intend to oppose the granting of bail, which some people have criticized to say, I mean, it's a Schedule 1 offense. In the ordinary course of events, if you are facing a Schedule 1 offense, the interests of justice usually dictate that you'll likely be granted bail. Of importance to us is the fact that we look at the seriousness of the offense. We look at the categorization of these offenses in terms of looters, organized looters, and the instigators. And in this category, we have firmly took a stance based on the evidence that has been presented by law enforcement that Mr. Mchunu is a flight risk. Because remember, after addressing publicly a press conference where he made utterances that amount to incitement to commit violence, after we have viewed the video and had it translated, he left Joburg with a chartered private jet and landed in KwaZulu-Natal and went to hiding. When pressure mounted for him and a warrant of arrest was issued out of Randburg Magistrate Court, he handed himself over to the police. We are considering other factors that may play or have a bearing on our decision to oppose bail. Investigations are at an advanced stage and intense as it may be. I'm informed by prosecutors that there may be other charges, but that has not been confirmed at this stage. And in terms of categorization of Mr. Mchunu at this point, Mthunzi, I know that you've had over 1,000 people, and I think closer to 2,000 people that you've arrested, in fact more than 2,000 people that you've arrested. And I imagine that in terms of your prioritization of prosecutions and allocation of resources and prosecutors, you are categorizing people. And I heard that you are tapping into your expertise around organized crime prosecution to assist with some of these cases. Given that, what priority are you attaching to Mr. Mchunu's case? What I'm asking is that, is he viewed, at least for prosecution purposes, as someone who is, lower rank, middle rank, or high rank, requiring the allocation of some of your more specialist prosecutors? And I think that will tell us a lot in terms of how you view him as prosecutors. Investigations of this nature require experienced investigators for starters, which is why we have then, as the NPA in turn, brought in our experienced prosecutors because of the categorization of the case of Mr. Mchunu, which is a higher category because he's one of the instigators, albeit being charged with incitement to commit public violence. But the NDPP has expressed it clearly that when there's evidence that points to commission of more serious offenses like treason, sedition, insurrection, and terrorism, we will not hesitate to charge those people, but we will be guided by evidence.
So Mthunzi, it's quite telling that you've actually used the words, he is one of the instigators. Until now, I think there's been caution, even on your part, to use that phrase. Let me suggest to you that at this point you're saying he's charged with incitement to commit public violence. Let me suggest to you that you will have egg on your face should you fail to add more charges to against Mr. Mchunu, because, you know, you'll be dealing with a situation where here's someone who, in your view, incited people to commit public violence, which turns out to be a Category 1 offense. That's not really instigator material. So a lot is riding on this. You should be able to sustain with further charges against Mr. Mchunu this allegation that he is, quote-unquote, one of the instigators.
That's your view, Thulas, but based on the evidence that we have, we consider incitement to commit violence as a higher category as well. So that's why you classify him as an instigator, because of the ripple effects of the statements that he made.
And lastly, Mthunzi, you said up to now, you've been saying that to start off with, as a principle, your prosecution is guided by the evidence that is presented by the investigators, and that's fair enough. And you had said in my earlier question, in response to my earlier question, that up to now, the only evidence that has been presented in the various cases has pointed to you being able to press charges of incitement to commit public violence. Has anything been presented to you that sustains crimes against the state? In other words, including those people that are yet to appear in court? Have the investigators, the Hawks, and anyone else involved in these investigations presented anything to you that talks to the issues of crimes against the state, be it terrorism, be it treason or sedition?
At this stage, Thulas, there's no evidence to that effect. Hence, no one has been charged with those serious offences.
All right, crystal clear. Mthunzi Mhaga, I appreciate your time here on All Angles. He speaks on behalf of the National Prosecuting Authority. He's also special advisor to the NDPP, giving us their side of the story, the NPA operating independently. You would want to then, of course, join the dots for yourself as a citizen. How does that fit with what the executive has been telling us about an attempted insurrection? The other, organs of state, the police, for example, what are they saying? Are they taking what they are telling us in all of those media briefings? Are they building a case around an attempted and failed insurrection that they then present to prosecutors? Mthunzi Mhaga telling us that at this point, nothing has been presented to them, with the result that no one has been charged with the higher crimes, the crimes against the state. So we'll watch and see what